Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Glad you could join us here today for our Memorial Day ceremony and parade. And fortunately, we have a beautiful day, one that is both calm and bright. And we'll get to the parade very shortly, but first we have a number of items on our agenda, and we ask you to bear with us. We're going to go ahead with the flag raising by Boy Scout Pack 922.
I knew I would see somebody like I knew.
Anna May? Right now we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing for our national anthem. Here's Anna May Piger, President of the American Legion Auxiliary.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the national anthem will be sung by Diane Rakes.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ripped clear, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Diane. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. Please be seated. One of the most important events in our ceremony every year is the honoring of 3 service veterans in our community who have graced us with their presence over the intervening years since their service. Right now, I'd like to introduce our Grand Marshal for the year, Mr. Eugene Heckel. Mr. Heckel?
Thank you.
The plaque is awarded by the Orange Foundation through our agency to our Grand Marshal, Eugene Heckel. Mr. Heckel served from 1946 to 1966 as a first sergeant in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Next, we have our Chief of Staff for this year, Edward Ned Martin. He served in Vietnam from 1967 to 1970 as an Army E-5. Mr. Martin.
Thank you very much. A few words, please feel free. Sure. Okay, thank you. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I want to thank the Memorial Day Committee for this honor and thank everyone who's taken time from their day to honor our veterans. In 1915, Moina Michael conceived of an idea to wear red poppies on Memorial Day in honor of those who died serving the nation. Inspired by the poem In Flanders Fields, she wrote, "We cherish too the poppy red that grows on fields where valor led. It seems to signal to the skies that blood of heroes never dies." This day honors those who made the ultimate sacrifice and never returned home. I had a classmate from Amity with whom I graduated. He was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam. He never made it home, but I'll never forget him and his sacrifice. My first night in Vietnam, we landed at Bien Hoa Air Base and spent 2 nights there before spending a week in the jungle training with the 101st Airborne Division. We were warned that the air base would be attacked with rocket fire every night due to the fuel depot on the base. When this happened, we were told to get under our bunks and, when told, run into one of 2 large bunkers nearby and wait for it all clear. Sure enough, we were awakened by the explosions and did as we were told. Once in the bunker, we could hear occasional explosions, and one was particularly loud and sounded close by. Finally, at dawn, we were allowed to exit the bunker and saw that the other bunker had taken a direct hit and killed the men inside. These were men that had been on the plane with me and never got to see daylight in Vietnam. Since the conflict, I've kept in touch with several of the men with whom I served. All but one have died from various cancers as a result of the Agent Orange defoliant, which was sprayed on us daily from low-flying planes. Mosquito netting, malaria pills, lousy food, and the marijuana smell were the orders of the day. One bright spot for me was the orphanage that my unit helped sponsor in Saigon. We spent time with kids every 2 weeks, and it just broke my heart. These kids had American fathers and were not accepted by the Vietnamese people. I wanted to take them home. They were just so cute and so lovable. I was also able to spend Christmas week in Hong Kong and another week in April in Australia, time which I enjoyed very much. I was also able to attend, with thousands of others, the Bob Hope Christmas show, which really lifted our spirits. Not a day goes by that I don't think about my friends who didn't make it home. I now consider every day a gift, and am beyond grateful to have made it home safely. God bless our troops, and God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Ned. Our honored veteran this year is being honored posthumously. He was a member of our committee, and I got to know him for a regrettably brief period of time. His family is here, however, to accept his plaque and acknowledge our devotion to him and our thanks for him. He was George McLemmon, and his family is here to accept his honor.
Thank you so much, and thank you to the Parade Committee for this honor. My dad loved meeting and working with you all, so it is truly special that you're honoring him today. And it's very fitting, since I can remember remembering my dad has been training his girls, me and my sister Jen and Sarah, and his grandsons in the front row, Jack, Tyler, Jesse, and Ian, to march. He'd line us up in the basement, back straight, knees up, yelling lefts and rights, and always calling out with a laugh, "I had a good job, and I left, you're right." His only reluctant student, my mom, Carol, his wife of 47 years. But she's here today, and Dad, look at her now. She is marching in your honor like a good soldier. A thoughtful and talented writer, my dad was a journalist when he was stationed in the Marines at Camp Lejeune. A tough, persistent glutton for punishment, he also tried his hand at boxing. The son and brother of veterans, my dad spoke very little of his time in service, telling me, "I spent most days just trying to figure out how I was going to get home on the weekends to your mother," his girlfriend at the time. His brother Billy, who was in the Air Force, and his brother Jimmy, who toured in Vietnam to the tune of multiple Purple Hearts, those were heroes, he'd say. And he similarly celebrated all of those who sacrificed and served this country. Dedicating his time to the Wounded Warrior Project, celebrating the Marine Corps birthday each year with family, delivering Air Force flags to all of the neighborhoods with a note when our neighbor Andy Blanchett was the honorary veteran last year. And when he learned that the mailman was a Marine, he put notes in everyone's mailboxes in the neighborhood to remind them to wish him a happy Veterans Day. Today, Dad, we honor you, your service and sacrifice, and your unrelenting acts of kindness. It's even more special that this honor comes from the town of Orange. Those of you who knew my dad know how proud he was for the home and the life that he built in Orange when he moved here in 1986. As he said to me in a card a few years before his passing, the dreams of a little kid growing up on Arlington Street are the pride and joy of an old man living on Karen Drive. Thank you for honoring my old man. And thank you to all those being recognized today and all the unsung heroes out there who, like my dad, make this country so great. God bless you, and God bless America.
Thank you, ladies. And now it is my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Perry Open, Army Dental Corps, 1962 to 1964.
Thank you. I want to tell you that whoever ordered this from the committee, this weather, thank you a lot. It's perfect. I know that Kelly told me when she called me, she says, it's going to be hotter than blazes, you're going to sweat like heck, and, well, guess what? We got on a scale of 1 to 10, we got a 20. I want to talk a little bit about the meaning of Memorial Day, and I also want to discuss a little bit of what I did and why I ended up here instead of as a career man in the service. Memorial Day is supposed to be about the nation's fallen service heroes, and it's been clear that things have changed a lot because this goes back to the days of the Civil War when the President of the United States at the time, Ulysses Grant, declared this to be something other than a celebration within states and or towns individually. And eventually, making a long story short, our president, Lyndon Johnson, declared both Remembrance Day and this day, and he declared it to be, and the Congress passed it, of course, that it would be served by us on the last Monday of the month of May. Somebody said that it was the reason that happened was because the flowers were all blooming and I see all the lovely people here in shorts, which I was going to wear. I should have gotten dressed up, but I didn't. So, Kelly, I'm sorry. The official purpose of this holiday is to honor, as you already heard, the many people who have never made it back home from all of the wars that we have participated in, and it's been way too many. Too many people have died, but we owe them nothing but honoring them, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here doing what we're doing. I remember the Second World War well, even though I was about 4 years old. And the biggest thing I remember, my family was a member of a beach club, and we went up to get a hamburger, and all you could get was Spam. So those of you that are as old as me, and I doubt there many of you are, because I'm older than dirt, but I'm honored to be here in front of you to talk about what we've got and what's happened. By the way, the two speakers that spoke previous to me make me like superfluous to what I'm going to say, but I'm going to try anyway. 1962, on graduation from dental school, I was accepted into the armed services at Fort Benning, Georgia. We had 6 weeks of basic training down in Texas. Physicians and dentists would serve down there. And if you think you know what hot is, you have no clue when you're down there in Texas during the summer. Laredo was where we were, and I thought that was the hottest place on earth until I went to Nuevo Laredo, and that was 10 degrees hotter. So it is what it is. I drove all the way to Fort Benning, Georgia, which is the largest Army post in the country. It had at the time 2nd Division. It had officer candidate school. It had all the officers of foreign countries. It had parachute. It had Rangers. It had special forces. And I know I'm leaving out stuff because it was just incredible how big it was. For example, there were, when I was there, 71 dentists on post. That's a lot of us guys drilling and filling and whatever you call it. I was blessed, and I'll just tell you that I'm the luckiest man any of you will ever meet. Because when I was there, within 3 weeks of being there, the Chief Oral Surgeon, U.S. Army, selected one person from the Air Force, one from the Navy, and one from the Army, spent 6 months with him, and then those 3 people, went out into the clinics and did their job. I was the guy from the Army. Now, don't ask me how it happened. It made no sense to me at all, but I sure enjoyed my 6 months with him and almost a year after. And like anything else in the service, you do what you're told, because that's what the Army is all about, or the Air Force or the Marines or the Navy, to help us, to help others in pain and whatever. And before we left the service, for the last 6 months, I was instructed to be the dentist that would do dental exams on all of the troops that were going off to Vietnam. And the orders were very simple. If you were single, you're going. I don't care what the orders said. They also took what they thought were people of the necessary to keep the troops alive, et cetera, et cetera. And so we would see approximately 350 to 400 patients a day. It's actually in 2.5 hours. Medical people and me. It was and you couldn't tell who you were dealing with unless you knew them personally, because everybody had a pair of shorts on and that was it. So you could have been dealing with a general or a private and you didn't know the difference. My time in the service was such that I loved what I did. I got the chance to do orthodontics before I went to school, which was a discussion I had with our ranking colonel simply because of the fact that I hadn't been to school yet. And he said to me, "You're going to do it." And I said, "Colonel, I haven't been to school yet." And he said to me, "You're going, therefore you're going to do it." What happened was two of the two-year wonders previous to my coming in got out of the service in January, and I was due to get out the end of June. And so he didn't have anybody to take care of all these people, so it was left to me. That was a very interesting situation for me personally. Approximately 6 weeks before the schools and the service said that I was due to get out at such and such a time, and I had mixed feelings about it because I really enjoyed it, and I thought I could make some contribution to whatever little I could do, but I worked hard, and I had very mixed feelings. If you want to know what mixed feelings are, it's watching your mother-in-law go over a cliff in a new Rolls Royce. No laughing. Okay, so the colonel called me in and he said, "I want to keep you." And I said, "Colonel, I love what I do. I spend a lot of time since I was single. I'd go to the emergency room on the weekends and sew up arms and legs or whatever they wanted me to do because there was golf, but it was too hot for that at the time until winter came." So anyway, I said to him, I want to stay, and I appreciate this, and my pleasure. And he said, "You're going to Vietnam now." And I said, "No, sir, I'm not going to Vietnam now. I am going to get my orthodontic degree, and once I get that, you could send me to the moon." And this is literally the words I said. He said, "I need you now." And I said, "Colonel, I've enjoyed my life here, and I'll pick it up later." And that was my military career. I never got to fight in Vietnam. I did have two surgeons who I knew well who were there, and one night the VC came in, blew out the side of this building that they were sleeping in and killed both of them. So we really owe our previous generations a great deal of thanks, because we are in the greatest country in the world. It will never be ever better than this. It can't get better unless our tax collector over here drops our mill rate. I don't know if that's going to happen. But thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all you do for all of everybody here who is giving of their self to make us better and to continue in the life that we live. God bless you. God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Just want to acknowledge that we are honored by the presence of several of our public servants and elected officials. I'll start with our first selectman, James Zioli. Mr. Zioli. He says hi. I also note that we have among us today our Senator Richard Blumenthal. He says hi too. We also have with us from our volunteer fire department, Deputy Chief Sherwood and Chief Dumas. We have, of course, our police chief, Robert Dagny, and our assistant chief, Max Martins. I think a first-time visitor to these ceremonies is our new Attorney General, Eric Russell. I see also our probate judge, Ben Gettinger. I'm sorry, State Treasurer, my bad. our State Senator James Maroney, State Representative Mary Welander, our tax collector Thomas Hurley, and State Representative Charles Ferraro. He sneaked in when I wasn't looking. And Kathy Kennedy also. Among our regular features of this ceremony, we ask the students at our elementary schools here in Orange to write essays on why we celebrate Memorial Day. We have the recipients of those awards here today, one from Racebrook School, one from Peck Place, and one from Turkey Hill. First of all, from Racebrook School, Kate Stoltenberg.
Memorial Day has been a national holiday since 1971. Over the 3-day weekend, we hold parades and barbecues in recognition of the day. But we have to remember the purpose behind Memorial Day, to commemorate all the lives that have been lost because of the nation's battles. This day is a time to recognize and honor those that have lost their lives while serving the United States. Over 1 million soldiers had the courage and willpower to fight on the war grounds, determined to protect and uphold the military. These soldiers gave up the safety of their homes and the comfort of their families to risk their lives to defend their nation. They died knowing that they made a difference in the outcome of our country. Memorial Day is celebrated to show recognition of the debt we owe to those that have fallen. Each soldier that serves in the U.S. military is required to take an oath when they are commissioned. This oath states that the soldier must uphold the Constitution and obey the certain orders given by the President of the United States or their commission officer. When they took this oath, they did not know what orders they would be given. No one could be prepared for war, and yet the soldiers entered the battlefield with all their strength and dignity. This goes to show the resoluteness of these soldiers and how willing they are to stand for their country. Considering everything, these men and women more than deserve a day of acknowledgement regarding their devotion to their nation. Knowing that it is not an easy task to have courage to stand on the battlefield, we celebrate Memorial Day to show our respect for those that have lost their lives for our freedom. While we enjoy our barbecues and parades with our families, we must be sure to remember the true reason of why we celebrate Memorial Day.
Next, from Peck Place School, Helene Flynn.
How many times have you been on Route 34 and seen Staff Sergeant Thomas Vitigliano's sign? I hope it made you pause. This shouldn't just be a sign on the road, but a spark to appreciate all that those have sacrificed. He gave his life defending our country in Iraq. Sergeant Vitigliano went to church at Holy Infant here in Orange, just like perhaps some of you. He made the ultimate sacrifice so you and I could remain in freedom. Say his name, remember his sacrifice, because it's not something to be forgotten. Memorial Day isn't just a day off of school, a day with parades, and a day with lots of American flags. Memorial Day is more than that, a time to honor Sergeant Vitigliano and thousands of veterans who gave their lives for our country. They are the reason why we have America. They are the reason why we get to live so freely. They made the ultimate sacrifice for you and I to get to go about life the way we do. Sergeant Vitigliano and those like him knew the risks of war, yet they continued to go off and fight for their country, showing just how much courage they had. As we stand here today in Orange, Connecticut, let's remember not only one of our own in Sergeant Vitigliano, Let's remember all of our own American heroes and what they gave.
Next, we have Alexis Schiff from Turkey Hill School.
Memorial Day is celebrated all over the world, but have you ever wondered why? From Mission Barbecue to learning a patriotic song, Memorial Day is celebrated in more than one way. But it is not just celebrating. Memorial Day means sacrifices were made. It means the courageous, bold, and sacrificial soldiers gave their lives to protect America. They fought so we could live. These brave men and women showed their appreciation, and now I will tell you how we appreciate them. We can commemorate Memorial Day in numerous ways. But why? We honor and mourn members of the military who have passed away while serving in the United States Armed Forces. We adore all of those amazing, gracious soldiers who died fighting for our country. We would not be a country without them. But what you do not want to do on Memorial Day is wish everyone a happy Memorial Day. There is no such thing as a happy Memorial Day. But there are dozens of ways you can honor America's fallen this Memorial Day. We can celebrate this holiday by remembering our fallen soldiers by putting American flags on their burials. But this is only one way we can celebrate. Many parades and speeches happen during this time of year. Since Memorial Day is celebrated on the last Monday of May, many students and employees take the day off to honor their fallen family members. As you can see, Memorial Day is a day to celebrate, but is also a day to mourn our brave heroes. And I'm sure there's much more information about Memorial Day to go around. But remember, Memorial Day is not about what we eat or wear. It's about remembering our soldiers and how they died to protect this country. I'm Alexis Schiff. Thank you for the opportunity to share my essay with you today.
Thank you, Daisy. You may have noticed that I handed something to each of our readers. That was thanks to the Dip Top ice cream parlor. We purchased those, the PBA purchased those for each student who read. I just want to take a moment here to acknowledge our town clerk, Mary Shaw, who also visited with us today. And now I'd like to ask anybody out there who is an honored veteran in our past ceremonies to please stand and be recognized. Do we have any such individuals with us today? We encourage everyone. We encourage everyone to visit the Veterans Wall of Honor at the High Plains Community Center. And please, if you are a veteran in attendance here today, please stand up and be recognized. And now we will have the general orders from Lewis Merritt, commander of American Legion Post 127. I stand corrected. It is Peter McDonald who will give the general orders.
Thank you. All right. Well, a little change of plans here, so I'll still read the general orders of the day. Are immediately following the conclusion of this ceremony, the Honorary Grand Marshal will join with the Honorary Chief of Staff, honored veterans, town officials, and assembled dignitaries to proceed to the reviewing stand located opposite the Orange Town Green. 1st Division Marshal and 2nd Division Marshal will assemble their respective divisions. The line of march will proceed from the front of the High Plains Community Center, down Orange Center Road, past the reviewing stand, with all units paying proper respect to the assembled dignitaries, and continue to the Orange Center Cemetery. 1st Division Marching Unit, composed of the American Legion, will make a left turn and enter the cemetery. All other marching units, including cars and floats, will take a right turn and disband at the Mary L. Tracy School. After the parade has cleared Orange Center Road, Post 127 of the American Legion will conduct a ceremony at the marker of the unknown servicemen. This seminary, I'll be a ceremony, I'll be all right, will conclude with the firing of 3 volleys by the post firing squad and playing of taps. That said, I also want to mention that we're having a luncheon, if you would, at the American Legion after everything's done. And you're welcome to come on down and get a bite to eat and say hello and visit with your friends. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. As is traditional at this ceremony, I want to recite the names of all veterans known to us in our community who passed this year. They are John D. Agapio, Paul Amore, Salvatore Atanise, Joseph W. Backus, John Camerato, James Chipello, Burton Cohen, Raymond D'Aquino, John Doheny, Leroy Emmerthal, Melvin Feldman, John Thinnell, Thomas Forlano, Raymond Garcia, Daniel Jeremiah Jr., Brad Gessler, Robert Heggers, Anthony Ianello, Richard Jaszczykowski, Fred S. Cantor, Victor Labrecque, Thomas Lane, Donald Lewis, George McLeman, Anthony Nardecchia, Gary Newman, Robert A. Opicon, Richard L. Passell, Julius Pact Jr., Albert Rapini, Lawrence Rosenberg, Robert Thomas, Lawrence Tibbin, and John Grubiscus. They are not forgotten. At this point, we've been able to lure Mr. Zioli to come up and say a few words to the gathered multitude.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you all for turning out. I want to thank this committee that works all year to put this event on. It's not just this little part here. This is the most important part, and you'll enjoy a parade after, but that committee works all year on that. Also, I want to say there are some cases of water around. If you need a water, please take one. We've had a few people that are standing in our support groups here have cratered on us and headed to the shade as you hear the sirens coming, so please stay hydrated out there. It's a warm day today and very, very, very important. But thank you to all of our support groups, the Police Department Honor Guard, the Fire Department Honor Guard, the Air National Guard, and CERT are all with us. The Amity Band is a yearly great help to us as well, and we thank all of you for that. all three of our honored veterans, Mr. Martin McClellan and Gene, I'm glad to see you. How you doing? Known Gene a long time. Some days is good and some days, but we're always there. And all our honored guests, thank you. Eric, I'm not sure if that promotion was a plus or a minus, but congratulations one way or another on that. But I do have somebody had sent this to me last year, and I remembered it, and lo and behold, it popped up in my feed this week. And I thought it was very fitting, so I just would like to remind everybody out there, including myself. Monday will be the most expensive holiday on the calendar. Every hot dog, every burger, every spin around the lake, or drink with friends and family is a debt purchased by others. This is not about all who've served. That day comes in the fall. This one is in honor of those who paid in life and blood, whose moms never saw them again, whose dads wept in private, whose wives raised kids alone, and kids only remember them from pictures. This isn't simply a day off. This is a day to remember that others paid for every free breath you ever get to take. And that is today's meaning behind it. And let's remember that today, tomorrow, and each day as we're so fortunate to be in this great country. So thank you and happy Memorial Day.
And now to give the benediction, Antoinette Hudgens, Post 127, American Legion Auxiliary.
Thank you everyone for being here. And we need to pray for our leader. May our leader be strong enough to seek peace. May the great strong hearts of our people be open. May our labor be a benefit of America and the world. May our legacy be one of enduring equality and liberty. May all who seek citizenship be ever welcomed here. May our government act with soundness of judgment. May America be worthy of the hope put in our hands. Bless America this day and every day with greatness. We, each of us, are the guardian of American faith. We, the people, are the greatest strength of America. Bless America this day in celebration of freedom. I am the survivor of the war in Italy. So I remember when the Americans arrived, and my cousin was one of them. He was a flight pilot from New York. He came to meet his grandmother for the first time. Thank you, everybody, for doing this.
Thank you, Ms. Hutchins. I want to introduce our parade marshals this year. In the first division, Parade Marshal Mark Sandillo, U.S. Marine veteran. And the second division, Maggie Lasto. Our parade starters are George Jean, Maggie Lasto, Mark Sandillo, John P. Sullivan, John S. Sullivan, Megan K. Crawford, and Ron Wachter. Please pay attention to them, and we will all have a great parade. Our ceremony coordinators are Dominic Lombardi and Tina Denton, and the Memorial Day Parade chairs, Kevin Gilbert and Kelly Marino. The Flag Committee, Mark and Maria Sandillo and Jack and Liam Sullivan. I'm asked to remind those of us who may need a bus to go down the parade route or to get back from the cemetery, that will be available at the appropriate time and location. Please join us at the end of the parade at the cemetery for the placing of the wreaths, the prayer, and the firing squad. That exercise will be conducted by Louis Merritt, commander of the American Legion Post 127. And with that, we are concluded here. Please take your places, those of you who want to see the parade, and we will get underway as soon as possible with that aspect of our celebration today.
Check.
Check.
Oh, all right.
We could take turns if you want. You want me to do the town officials?
Sure, knock yourself off.
Yeah, we don't have to do them. They all know who they are.
Senator Blumenthal, he's up and at 'em.
Are these orange police? Yeah.
I'd be in traction for the next 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, he kept up.
There are no excuses.
No.
The motorcycle unit of the Orange Police and the ATV unit.
That's Dr. Perry Open, Eugene Heckel. I think. That's you.
Our Grand Marshal, Eugene Hackle.
That's Ned Martin. That's Chief of Staff.
Chief of Staff, Edward Ned Martin. Is that a Plymouth?
I don't know cars.
I think it is. I'd say 70s.
I don't know who's coming up. Maybe it's George McClain. Oh no, he's the family. The
If
family.
George shows up, I'm leaving.
That's the family of George.
Yeah.
Want me to do it? Oh, you do it. Go ahead.
Sure.
Family of George McClain, honored veteran.
Make yourself comfy. Anywhere down here? Yeah, good. I mean, you'll see that they're all equally luxurious. This is just one of the many honors.
Here's Ed Monaco. Do we need to announce Ed Monaco? No.
1930 Model A Roadster.
Oh, let me do Mrs. last. I'll do, Mrs. Peck Place School Principal Mrs. Lasto.
Yay!
Accompanied by our elementary school speech winners.
American Legion Auxiliary, Post 127.
Marianne! Good. I know. I'm always late.
American Legion Post 127. Honor Guard.
Connecticut Air
Color
National Guard.
Ladies and gentlemen, here comes the Orange Elementary School Marching Band, led by Gina Patrick.
Our parade marshal, Mark Sandillo.
School Band. The Rotary Club of Orange with their immense American flag.
Test.
Check.
Daisy Troop of Orange, Connecticut.
Daisy Troop 60226, Michelle Shoup. Troop 60562, Rachel Vesputa and Kristen Hildenbrand.
Orange, Connecticut Girl Scout Troop 60165.
Anastasia Ganem. Here's Girl Scout Troop 60431. And here comes the Amity Spartan Band. Amity!
And halt, step, turn, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 1, 2, ready, and.
Amity High School Band. Phil Dolan, Director. Thank you.
The Pawcaset Swim and Dive Club. Lynn Plaskowitz. New Haven Gaelic Highland Pipe Band. The Stony Creek Fife and Drum, led by Uncle Sam. Orange Little League hardball and softball, Eric Jadek.
Let's hear it for the Little League.
Parade Marshal Maggie Lasto, escorted by Tina Denton. Orange Soccer Association.
OSA. Tom Pisano and Bill Hoffman, directors. Orange Soccer Association, coming soon to a cornfield near you.
Goodman Performing Arts Center.
Milford Ancient Fife and Drum Corps. Orange Cub Scouts. Cub Scout Pack 922. C. Martone and B. Cleveland, directors.
Orange Republicans led by Dana Lombardi. Chairman Pio Imperati.
Here comes the Nutmeg Volunteer Junior Fife and Drum Corps. Orange Lions Club.
The Orange Lion Knight, Dr. Messina. New Haven County Firefighters, Emerald Society, Pipe and Drum Corps. The Orange Highway Department. The Orange Community Emergency Response Team, Orange CERT. Orange Community Emergency Response Team. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Orange Volunteer Fire Department. Chief Vaughn Dumas. Engine 1. Orange Volunteer Fire Department. Truck 32.
And last, the Orange Memorial Day Parade Committee.
As you can see, their running gear is slightly less impressive.
This concludes the parade. If you'd like to join for a ceremony at the cemetery, we ask you kindly make your way to the Orange Cemetery.
Order. Arms away. Our bugle is
Order. Arms.
Oh. Detail. Present. Arms.
Present. Arms.
This concludes our ceremony here at the cemetery. I want to thank you all for coming and participating. This afternoon, the American Legion is sponsoring an open house at the Veterans Hall at 630 Grassy Hill Road here in Orange. You're all welcome to attend and enjoy the afternoon with us and see the new improvements that we've made to our hall. With that, again, thank you all for coming.
Detail, order, arms. Detail dismissed.
Somebody's ready to roll. Memorial Day parade, then you gotta strap in. There.